Welcome to another episode. Welcome to another video by me, Mr. Hayden Davidson, and I've been selling on Amazon for many, many years now. I recently sold my brand as well. In this video, I want to talk to you about why Amazon is not working out for you. A real raw reality check that most people are simply not taking into account. I'm going to tell you the main reasons why most people fail and why you're probably failing as well. So stay tuned, stay into this. Now, this video is kindly sponsored by Sellerboard. You can get a 2-month free trial to Sellerboard below where you can track their profits and you can also get reimbursements from that tool as well. I've been using it in my business for many, many years now. Get the 2-month free trial by using the link below. Now, I've got to be totally honest with most people. The reason it is not working for you in Amazon is because you're simply not putting in enough work. Now, people don't like to hear that. They don't like to hear that it's them, right? But if you know that people are succeeding in the business that you're doing, in the Amazon sort of subcategories that you're working in, then how can we come to any other conclusion? Obviously, they know stuff that you don't know, right? So think to yourself, what are those people doing that I am not doing, right? Let's take myself for an example on this, right? I built and scaled to multiple millions of total revenue, my Amazon and bundles business, and then I sold it, right? And the key thing that I was doing differently compared to my competition, right? Here are the few things that I were doing differently to my competition. One, I stuck to a niche and hit it really, really hard, right? I was primarily in the grocery hampers kind of niche, right? And I really stuck to that, right? I didn't get distracted by doing, occasionally, obviously, I got other ideas and tested them out, but generally I wasn't like, well, let's do DIY now, let's do baby really hard. Although I had ideas of that and I tested them, generally I really stuck to one niche, right? I really stuck to one niche and nailed that niche, because what happens over time is if you start to really nail a niche is that it's not only a lot less time spent for you because you've already got the amazing keyword research that you've got and stuff like that. You don't even have to do keyword research essentially sometimes because you already know the niche so well. Not only did I have that, but I knew the niche so well that I started to know where the pitfalls were in that niche and where the opportunities were. If you hyper focus and super focus on one niche, you can understand where the opportunities are, where the competition is falling short. I can give you a really easy little example of this. Let's say that everyone's doing, I don't know, tea hampers, right? And you notice that there's one little section there that's got, I don't know, marmalade in the hampers and no one else has got marmalade. You can attack that niche specifically because you know that there's search for that niche. This is just made up, but you know that there's keyword search for marmalade and tea hamper, for example, and no one else is doing that. The only reason you know that is because you've been hanging around in that niche for so long. So what I did differently was really stuck to one niche. I wasn't just doing a 2-packet of Weetabix, a 2-pack of Twix, a 2-pack of some jams or anything like that. I really got to know my niche. We were doing gift hampers. That was what we were doing. I'm not telling you to do that, but any clients that we manage, any people that I've done consulting calls with to help them, the successful ones stick to one niche. They stick to the same set of suppliers. They stick to the same set of manufacturers. They stick to the same niche. They absolutely master that niche. That's one of the key areas of differentiation that I found myself doing differently without even knowing it, right? And then you get to a stage now where people are asking me to consult them on building like gift hamper brands because I've got so much knowledge in it in the Amazon space. So you get to a stage where it's like that. That's the key differentiation. The next thing was the pure level of energy that I put towards it and the work that I put into it. Now, it doesn't have to be like I did, which is where I sort of obsessed over the business and like never really switched off. Although that obviously helped in terms of the success that I got from it, you don't have to be like that as long as you consistently say to yourself, creating new products. You have to be consistently creating new products. If you look on averages, there wasn't many weeks where I didn't launch a new hamper. Like because some weeks I launched 4 or 5, which I'd been creating for the last 5 weeks. So on average, we had at least around about 1 hamper every single week being launched, right? And that creates huge compounding. A lot of people, what they do is either they don't create any hampers or they just create a couple of hampers every few months. I noticed a lot of my competition doing, or so they were spending all this time on just creating one really good one, right? Whereas what I was doing was I was creating one every week. But because I knew my niche so well, because I knew my keywords so well, and because I was so good at that niche, I'm not saying we were the best hampers in the world, but we definitely were one of the top 10 making the most profit probably the top 5 making the most net profit in that niche. The reason we were doing that is because I was consistently putting out like 7 or 8 out of 10 hampers. I was putting out stuff that was good enough, really good, like good in terms of it ticked the desire from the market, the keywords, what people want. I knew that because I knew the niche so well. I could have spent a lot longer on them, but that wasn't my approach. My approach was do one a week, at least one a week, and make it good enough for a good amount of sales. But we're not trying to be the best in terms of how nice our hampers look, because that would be a very different approach. I was trying to be the best and make the most profit. And we almost achieved that. So, well, we did achieve that. We definitely made one of the most profits out of everyone. So it's about getting good enough, right? This is the approach that I did and the approach that you can do in your niche. It's about being good enough and putting out good enough stuff that is good enough to be successful, but it doesn't have to be the best thing in the world. And people are overthinking them small details and stuff like that. Another key thing that we were doing, in my experience, another key thing that we were doing that the others weren't doing, was updating my listings when they started to drop off. As I say, I sort of had a little bit of an obsession mindset around this stuff. That isn't required, but what is required is to have systems and processes around this stuff. So what we were doing was systematically, I would be monitoring the sales. And because, once again, I knew my niche so well, I knew my business so well, I knew how much each bloody hamper sold, like a month, a week, a day. I knew it off the top of my head. So I could see, even out of seasonal times, when hampers weren't performing as well as they should have done, when bundles weren't performing as well as they should have done. And if I started to see a slight drop off, I would see that as a bit of a panic, and I would trigger myself into action to improve that listing, to figure out what's the issue with that. And I would update listing pictures, I'd update listings, update titles, update imagery, anything that I could think of, update keywords, check with the competition, have they launched something else? And I would either update that listing, update it to improve it, which a lot of the time rejuvenated the sales, or I would go ahead and create new listings. So if I did all that and it still wasn't improving the sales, I'd be like, okay, well, I've done the best I can, and usually the sales would pick up in the future anyway. And even if it was just because of a seasonal low, it was only a positive. Because when the season came back, I'll get double the sales to what I was getting before in that particular racing, because I've improved it. So you should be systematically improving your bundles as well, your hampers, whatever you're doing. And then the sort of final point there to take up on there is the fact that even if I felt like I did everything and it wasn't improving sales, I wouldn't just sit back and go, oh, I haven't got sales, and sort of feel sorry for myself. I'll be always looking for new opportunities. And because once again, I knew that niche so bloody well, I honestly don't think anyone knows that niche better than me, right? Because I knew the niche so well, I could go ahead and launch new products like they were nothing. And it was really easy for me to push bundles out because I knew the market so well. So my top advice is get to know your market well, never stop improving, always be launching new products, make sure you're pushing new products, make sure you're looking at what the competitor's doing and making sure you are staying on top of your niche. That is what you have to do to get success. My name's Hayden. If you want to contact me, my agency, my PPC agency, or check out any of the links below with my discounts or the seller board sponsor for this video, hit the links below. I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you subscribe as well. All that lovely stuff.